One of the things I haven't done in a while with Velocity Mortgage just is remind all of you on their various options and loan products. Velocity Mortgage has been with the channel for several years now. They are the creators of the 90% CLTV, what we have termed the 50-40-10. But what we're going to do is go through the entire Rolodex of loan products because, frankly, I just need to do that and because it's a service to you. But before we do that, Stephen, please do the marketing plug so we don't get in trouble.
Although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel that are my own. So let's get it going.
Yeah, one of the things that I've done a poor job of is really reminding folks, that Velocity has their niche. They fit it really, really well. They stay in that niche. They don't try to be all things to all people. So what I want to do is go through 5 different loan products one by one and just educate people on what it is and who it is right for. And we're going to start with what you guys call the Fast 50. What is it and who is it for?
Well, primarily the Fast 50 is, I think you could probably apply to maybe two ends of the spectrum, right? One would be somebody with good credit or average credit and only needs 50% LTV. So you're typically going to get pretty good pricing there. However, the other opposite end of the spectrum would be somebody going through credit challenges but has equity. I could still provide the loan, but obviously you're not going to get potentially the lowest rates. But they're still not bad considering the circumstances. For example, somebody with even a 417 FICO, true story.
417? I didn't even know that was possible.
I used to think the same thing. I thought you just got like 400, just get your name and your social security number, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, 417 FICO, 50% LTV on the purchase of owner or non-owner occupied residential properties. You're in the nines, low nines, like 9.365, 30-year fixed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly better than a no answer, which we will certainly at a 417 get from most institutions.
Right. Or even a no score
situation. Yeah, no score.
Right. Yeah. I'll still give you 50% LTV and the rate's still not that bad for a 30-year fix, So for that particular product, it's probably, our most lenient product, like I said, because you don't even technically need a score. The only thing you cannot have is the subject property cannot be in an active foreclosure or NOD, and you're just maxed at 50%.
Yeah, I like it. Again, Fast 50 works for the right situations. It's better to have some of the lending than none of the lending or leverage. So Fast 50 is right for lots of people.
Now, given the fact that the normal guidelines say 50%, but for the right borrower, we'll do a little bit more. Example, real crypto billionaire. That's all I'll probably say. I won't give out too much more, but doesn't have any credit. I think because they got so much in crypto, who needs credit?
I guess.
But we did a 60% LTV, cash out
under the same guidelines. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But 2.6 million, 60%, not 50. No score.
That's meaningful. Yeah. So again, this is what I love about Velocity. It's a make sense lender. They're going to look at the situation. Sure, they have guidelines, but they are certainly willing to work for you. And working with a guy like Steven, who's got decades of experience there, is going to make sure you get the right answer for your borrowers. All right, let's move on to you guys call the ARV Pro. What the heck is that?
That's basically ARV stands for after rehab value. Excuse me. That's typically for our fix and flip product. So 1 to 4 unit non-owner residential properties that are in distress, a little bit of cosmetic repair, maybe updating, deferred maintenance, small addition, something to that effect. That would be the right product. Typically, you're going to want to have someone with experience, though. At least doing one successful flip with an exit in the last 24 months. That's our definition of experience. So whether or not you sold it or kept it as a long-term rental, that's the same thing when we say with an exit. Now, if you didn't do any of that, but at least own one rental property, we would still be able to allow you to use it. Now, the more you've done as far as successful flips with exits in the last 24 months, the higher the leverage. So I could technically get you up to as high as 90% loan to cost with at least 5 or more successful flips in the last 24 months with exits. Now, this is also still a no ratio loan. No tax return, no pay stub, no W-2, no DSCRs required. You can hold title under an entity. The loan doesn't report to the credit bureaus. It's a 12-month interest-only loan with no prepay. And so depending upon your experience level, your FICO score, because the rates are FICO-driven, and the purchase price, the rehab budget, and the future value are all kind of the most important figures in order for us to kind of play with the numbers to see if it all fits in within our guidelines. But that's pretty much the long and short of it with that product.
I love it. The ARV Pro, again, if you're a fix and flipper doing multiple deals a year, you give Velocity a chance to see if they can help you out, be a funding source for you. Smart play. How about something you all call the flex term? What the heck is that?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much, yeah, people play with, names and I guess wordplay and whatnot, but it's our long-term 30-year fixed loan. There is some flexibility to it, so I think that's where the combination of that flex term thing comes up. But it's 30-year fixed loan, 30-year amortized. It again is a no ratio loan, but you could use it for not only just 1 to 4 unit non-owner residential, but also commercial in the way of either multifamily, like an apartment building, 5 or more units, mixed use where you have a residential and commercial component to the property, and even straight commercial, like warehouse, self-storage, automotive repair, like a strip mall or retail or commercial space, something to that effect. Minimum 650 FICO can get you as high as 70 to 75% LTV, depending upon property type and sometimes loan amount. Otherwise, 1 to 4 unit non-owner residential, fully no ratio, so I don't care about DSCR. As far as commercial, DSCR applies only above certain loan amounts. So above 500,000 on commercial, the property will need to debt service. However, a caveat to that would be if it was for the purchase of owner-occupied commercial, we would allow loan amounts up to 750,000 and below, no ratio. Yeah, just needs to be 70% occupied.
Nice.
Other than that, yeah, loan amounts range from 75,000 up to basically 5 million, depending upon property type and size. I should say LTV, I should say. And then, yeah, you can also hold title under an entity. You can also even add up to 10 years of interest only for the first 10 years of your 30-year fixed loan. So there's so many different levers where you can combine that with the 50, 40, 10, and even add a seller credit on top of that. There's so many different levers that you can kind of pull, and it's no ratio. So depending upon the right scenario, there's a lot of relevance to our product given the right circumstance. So yeah, it gets exciting because we're not like the regular cookie cutter vanilla type lender where you either fit the box or you don't. There's so many different variables that sometimes doesn't fit the box, but if you can provide me some strong compensating factors, we can overlook some of those deficiencies. So that's basically the flex term.
Very cool. So again, make sense lender, Velocity Mortgage, lots of yes answers. If you have a conversation, you've got to, again, his email is right there on the screen. Take it down, sdow@velocitymortgage.com, send him a note. You actually have a loan product I don't think you and I have ever talked about, so we're just going to hit it now. What are you doing in bridge loans?
Bridge loans primarily only for 1 to 4 unit non-owner residential. So this particular product is very similar to that of maybe like a private money, hard money, because it's only for 24 months. But it is interest only for the full 24 months. Sometimes with other hard money, private money, you're typically only going to get anywhere from 6 to maybe 12 months. So this gives you a little bit longer of a
longer term, yeah. If you
yeah,
got if you got a fourplex, you got to turn over. You probably need that extra time, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, life kind of has a funny way of happening to you while you're planning it, right? Everybody's got that 12-month plan, right?
No joke.
But if things don't pan out the way you thought they were going to play out, at least you got another 12 more months of interest only if you need it, right? And plus the fact that there's no prepay, you can pay it off as early as the next day after you get the loan, or 23 months later or whatnot. So whatever the case may be, yeah, you have a lot of flexibility.
Like it. Well, the last one we're going to finish one is something you and I play with. We call it the 50-40-10. It's just built on the back that Velocity allows you to do 90% combined loan to value. I still think this will be the most leveraged product, certainly in the apartment and multifamily space. As we get out of the third inning that Ken McElroy says we are in, more and more distressed sellers are coming. The ability to structure a win-win transaction with the 50-40-10 is going to happen. Tell us about it.
Been doing a lot more scenarios as of late. So definitely us repeating this and going over it multiple times, I think it's really starting to resonate a little bit more and getting a little bit more traction. But again, the particular feature of our loan product is that we would allow up to a 90% CLTV or combined loan to value. So whereas I might be maxed out on my first mortgage or first trust deed anywhere from 70 to 75%, if the seller, in most cases, in the case of a purchase, had enough equity and was willing to carry a small second behind my first to a maximum combined loan to value of 90%, that would allow the buyer to come in with that 10% down. Now, ideally, we talk about that 50-40-10. So if we could structure the financing in such a way, the leverage, that would be ideal for the buyer typically, and the seller to some degree if they could kind of sell at their price. And if those terms can be structured in such a way where the property can cash flow from day one, then buyers willing to
Everybody
give the
wins.
seller the price.
Yeah.
Everybody wins. Correct. So
Yeah,
it's
at the
just
end of the day, 50/40/10 is the most flexible tool and should be the biggest tool people understand in this is your Swiss Army knife of options because it allows you to get closer to the seller's price.
right.
It allows you to get a blended interest rate that is below and probably significantly below market. Allows you to potentially have a 30-year term, maybe the second's a 10-year balloon, if not the
Hmm.
full 30 years. Save on some taxes for the seller. Reduce your issue, make sure it cash flows day one. It's definitely a skill set to talk about the 50/40/10. You and I have done plenty of videos on it. You can search for those. But yeah, at the end of the day, Stephen, Velocity Mortgage is a make sense lender with lots and lots of options. You are the guy that knows how to play with the knobs and levers to figure out what's right for the borrower. How do they reach out?
Again, email is probably going to be the best. Look below there, sdao@velocitymortgage.com. Please, if you can remember, just put in the subject line the acronym ORAAT to make it past the firewall. Otherwise, sometimes your loan might get quarantined and stuck in my spam folder.
In jail.
Yeah, in jail, email jail. And I do look at that periodically. It's just that it gets flooded so much with so much junk and stuff like that I mean, I'm at like
Yeah.
400
I don't look at
something.
mine, so I get it. I don't look at my junk.
You
It's
get it. So
crazy.
yeah, get past that. So then there's no delay in my response. Sometimes there is a slight delay in that, so I apologize. But outside of that, yeah, the body of the email, brief description, what you're looking for, property address would be the most helpful. At least the city and state to what you're looking, the area that you're looking to find, lend in or get financing in, just to make sure I can lend there. And then mid-FICO score, best phone number to reach you at, and I'll typically be in touch within 24, 48 hours.
There you go, folks. Again, the Fast 50, ARV Pro, Flex Term, Bridge Loans, and of course, my favorite, the 50/40/10. Stephen, have a great day.
You too, man. Have a good weekend.